Well, like many things I find in life, it usually starts out I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be the PBO, and then things sort of changed, and I found myself being the parliamentary budget officer, and it was an important experience for me. And about towards the end, when I was, it was coming to the end of the mandate, and sort of winter 2013, some publishers approached me, would you consider writing a book? And so I talked to a few. Then it was this friend that actually said to me, who just finished a project, Bernstein, and he helped me write the book. He said, no, you got to do it. It's such an important story. And so again, like most things in life, I get pushed to do them. Yeah, it's not like, oh, I got to write a book. But there were certainly, during the last year or so, after 4 or 5 years of experience PBO, I'd go to events. And one memorable occasion, which I just met Professor Russell again just last week. We were at an event in Toronto. And I was at something called the Churchill Debates. And he kind of took me aside. He's sort of this 80-ish old, iconic, very famous professor, University of Toronto, political science. He's given us an important story. You got to write it down. You got to find some time after the experience and just tell people what happened, what's important, what's at stake. And I think so. That was kind of important too. Like if you think just in terms of how the context evolved, I became parliamentary budget officer in March 2008. By the end of that year, we were in kind of a historic world recession. Even well before the end of the year, in the fall of 2008, we were virtually on the cusp of losing all the investment banks, the major investment banks. And so that world, those sorts of events, and then, again, in that context of the environment, the government putting out major pieces of legislation or procurement with nothing behind it, in a way that we've never seen before. So moving forward on crime bills, with and basically telling Parliament, just vote, we're not giving you anything. And these are our billion-dollar expenditures over the medium term. And moving forward with major pieces of procurement like fighter planes, which you've reported on, and just a press release. And again, so that was to me wow, the system is really in bad shape. And and there was literally no accountability and no transparency.